A lot of folks had asked for the last few weeks me to talk about the concept of local as well as national police department issues. You know, there's a lot of this and that going on. You know, you have shootings and you know all this kind of stressful or tense stuff that goes on. And it's interesting because even though we're in spiritual community, folks ask, you know, generally they're charged about stuff on the news. I mean, the last thing that you should use as your source of feeling or state of being is the news. But a lot of people watch the news, they see something happen, and then they get triggered, and then they add it to their compartments in their brain that said, I knew it, or told you so, or there they go again, and make groups of people bad. We don't want racism, right? But we also don't want copism, or whatever it is that you want to call, you know, judgments that we put on police department or anything else. IRS even, although they are weird. But no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So we are charged, but our job is to change this. Our job is to not get sucked in, first of all, to those kinds of judgments. And I'm not telling you that people don't make mistakes, police department or any other department. We make mistakes at churches. We make mistakes in our home. So, you know, police departments obviously make mistakes. But we have to own that we see things through our own lenses. So we have to make a difference in this world, guys, not by picketing for or against such agencies, but we really have to make a difference by showing people how to react differently to these kinds of things. I know this, I'm glad that there's a few jobs that I'm glad I don't do. One is social work, because it would be so difficult to have the patience of a social worker that has to do all the work they do, and it's commonly invalidated by the systems. It's almost like any attempt they do to bring good, the brakes are constantly on with everything they try to drive forward. It's very difficult work. But the police department, I think we don't realize that these guys are out there and they're targets. You can see them coming. They can't see what you're doing. So they never know. It's constant tension. And no, they're probably not going to start a meditation, course, an hour a day to help these guys decompress from what they went through yesterday, although it should be done. There probably aren't going to be on-site chair massage for the cops after each, run somewhere, in between donut stores or whatever. No, I'm kidding. They stop off for a massage. I wish it were so, but that's not the case right now. So these guys live in constant tension, and I think it's a drag, and I don't think we should add judgment onto their shoulders. But I was talking to a couple of police officers the other day. And when I talk to people, I just talk. I'm like, how's it going? I love to just interact and let them talk. I like to ask questions and hear where people are coming from. And I was very, very pleased because I've heard locals here say, the cops, they have their little, ideas and opinions. Oh, yeah, Sedona Police has an old boy network and, all these comments and so forth about the police department here. And some of it may be true. And in talking to a couple of officers recently, they said, yeah, that's probably been there before, but they know, they're well aware that it has been there and that it's mostly faded. Believe it or not, it's your choice, obviously. But it was nice to be able to talk and engage instead of just buying into, guys, instead of just buying into opinions people have of other human beings or races or genders. Why don't we just find out for ourselves? Why don't we just step up and ask? So I asked, and I didn't get coldness. I didn't get rudeness. I got really nice personability and interaction. And these guys are actually saying, They're in this tense place every day from what they see on the news and what people are projecting them onto them from the news. And the stuff, some of it that's real. There's power-hungry cops, but there's power-hungry florists too. I mean, come on, we know it's there. But we need to make a difference in this world. So let's do our best to bring peace. So when you see cops, wave. When they drive by, wave. Just an acknowledgement. If you ease their burden, they're not going to be as trigger happy as some people think they are. They're not going to be as likely to be reactive, because if they're reactive, that's something that built inside and blew, which I'm not justifying. I'm just saying, let's all make a difference for even things as simple and mundane, IRS or police department or whatever groups, take a lot of the burden. I just don't think it's necessary. Just briefly then, my personal experience with cops is different from most people's. I still get a ticket now and again. But my experience is different. Every time I've ever gotten a ticket, I've shaken the hand of the cop afterwards, thank him, tell him I have a good day. I don't do the arguing people do, where, oh, you're just out to meet your quota. Well, that's really good. It's not even great karma to say things like that. Because if there is a cop trying to meet quota, then you're probably on his radar, no pun intended. So I just, my experiences are interesting. 60-second version is, I remember one time I got pulled over by a cop, and it was Halloween, many years ago. This is about 25 years ago. Halloween night. He pulls us over. I had my little kids, they were still little, in the back of the car, and cop approaches the car, and he actually had a pig nose mask on. Sort of making fun of the whole pig concept, and I thought that was just hilarious. Didn't get a ticket. I've had times where I was pulled over. He clearly saw what I did. I initially tried to come up with reasons I didn't. He actually was amused. He actually stood there as I came up with one reason. He goes, no, that's not it. Then I go, how about if I went through the stop sign because of this? He goes, no, that's not it either. Is it possible that no? I mean, I actually tried these few things. And he says, no, but can I see your registration? What's that? I didn't even know what it was. It was years ago. Can I see your license? It's expired. I was pretty, then I put my arms out the door. I go, okay, let's just go. Just, forget it. I'm dead, And he laughed a little. Then he said, I finally found the registration. And I said, oh, is this it? And he said, yeah, that's it, except it's not signed. I go, well, what more could go wrong? I said, okay, here. I took a pen. I go, look over there real quick. And, and because you're not supposed to, sign it right then and there. So, and he laughed. And again, I didn't get a ticket. It's like, it doesn't matter, just learning to lighten up and not yell at cops because they've pulled you, not to be defensive. In other words, hate is not our best first response to anything. Fear and hate is just not our best response. Then I came to Arizona 5 years ago, and I got pulled over by a highway patrol guy. And I was actually trying to lay back as I was getting on an on-ramp and let a truck get on. So that was kind of a nice thing to do. But I was letting this truck get on before me and taking care of him. But as he got on, when he finally did get on, then I finally went ahead and merged onto traffic. But I did so before you're supposed to do so. It's a solid line. So you're not supposed to. So the cops pulls me over. He says, well, what were you doing? You crossed this line. I said, yeah. And then he said, well, also you got on, because I was trying to go slow enough for this truck, that I got on the freeway slow enough to where other cars had to brake behind me. And he said, he saw that too, and that's not good. So at the end of the story, he says, all right, I'm going to go check, and just wait a minute. And he goes to check all my details at his car and so forth. So I'm just sitting there waiting. He comes back, and guys, remember, some of you were like, please don't give me a ticket. Don't ask God to ask the cops to not give you a ticket. Please don't do that. Ask to feel the presence of God in all things you do. Not just in not getting a ticket. Ask to feel the presence of God even if you get a ticket. That's actually the spiritual work. The rest is just being spoiled. Make him not give me a ticket, Lord, and then you can go and tell your friends, I prayed and God made the cop not. That's not spirituality. That's just control freakism. So just instead ask to find peace. Ask to know the presence of God in all things. I'm not saying it's always easy. So in this moment, I'm like anybody. Oh, what a bummer, Looks like I'm going to get a ticket. He leaves. He comes back. He comes back and he's holding my paper registration because I learned that you're supposed to have that. And he says, all right, I checked everything out. And he says, you see this paper here? And I look at it. I said, yeah. He says, we're going to have to take possession of your car. And I'm like, what? He goes, just kidding. I'm like, oh, okay. So my point is that I swear to you, the majority of the times I've ever been pulled over, most of the time I've not been written up. And whether they wrote me up or not, we had a good laugh. We had a good laugh. Ease the pain of people, ease the stress of people. A friend of mine was driving me 5 years ago into Arizona when I was deciding to move here. He's driving me, and he was speeding, and I kept saying, dude, you're going a little fast. He kept speeding anyway, because he had this propensity to do that. He's coming down a hill now, and we were going like nearly 100, I think. Cop pulls us over. Yeah, you're speeding, speed limit 65, blah, blah, blah. So he's just saying, you need to slow down, and he gives the ticket to the guy and all that, to my friend. And then he says, where are you guys going, by the way? I said, actually, if you don't mind, we're looking for this particular town, We think it's like an hour away. He says, no, that's like 3 hours away. And I go, that's okay, we'll just drive fast enough to get there sooner. And the cop actually like laughed, so it caught him so off guard that he actually he belly laughed. So guys, it's not about getting the ticket or not. It's ease people's stress, ease people's pain with a smile, a little levity, who knows what. But ask God to teach you how to do that, and God will show you what to do, what to say at any given time. But life is not about getting our way all the time. But it's about being in the way of God, whatever may be happening in and around us. But please, locally, do what you can. Wave, be at peace even if you get a ticket. Don't let gossip happen about cops that people don't even know and they're passing gossip about them. Try to avoid that stuff in this world. Try to say, well, actually, I've never met one. Have you? Do you know some personally? Challenge people to not be gossiping about people that they don't know. But also, you're not in the skin of that person. All I do know is I'm grateful that there are people out there serving us individually, nationally, and in our communities. Because it's a very, very tense job, just like social work. Yes, dear. Hold on, this is the interactive portion of our church service.
Every time I see a policeman or a fireman, I say thank you.
Right on.
Because they put their lives
Yeah,
on the line.
that's the,
Policemen have the highest rate of divorce of any other occupation.
It's a tense place, these occupations. And as she said, don't forget the gift of saying thank you. Thank people. Even if they write you up, thank you. All right? Just consider that. Thank you.